Hey, how you doing? Can you hear me?
How's it going?
Fantastic, man. You can hear me well?
Oh, you're great.
Okay, great, great, great. So today we have Matt Stevens, host of that hit show Chili Cone Chili. We're super excited to have you on. I had a lot of fun, preparing for this podcast because I was watching about at least 8 to 10 of your shows, and it was so easy to watch and so much fun. My wife and me were laughing. It was great. She's a huge fan of it. She's the one who actually turned me on to it. And then obviously I'm a friend of Terry's, and that put those two together, and now we have you on the show. So that's fantastic.
Great. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Well, you had that cigar and those Monica cigars. Can you tell us about where that comes from and kind of how that happens?
You know, I've worked in the entertainment business all my life,
Yeah,
and so I hate throwing names out. I usually just call people by characters. But years ago, I got just turned on to. I went to college in San Marcos 1,000 years ago,
sure.
and I got turned on to Kinky Friedman, who
Oh, yes.
later went on to run for governor, and he'd written a lot of books. And
Yeah,
he would do a speech every once in a while on our campus there at the university. And he was just a fascinating individual. And my father smoked cigars. And so, anyway, for whatever it's worth, Kinky Freeman came out with a bunch of cigars. I bought a box and I haven't quit buying them since. So, there you go. That's the story there. That's the end of my dropping names.
I'm a big fan of a good cigar myself, so I can level with you there. Tell us about that great collection of art that you have. I know they were telling me about that, and it's a big deal to you. And you have some nice pieces, from what I understand.
You know, I always kind of liked art. Used to like Western art. And
Yeah,
what happened was, is I came after I graduated college and did some other things elsewhere. I came back here,
sure.
and years ago, and it had to be in the mid '80s. There was a gallery called the Caffey Gallery here in
Yes,
Corpus,
yes,
and
yes,
it
yes.
was owned by Charles Caffey. Unfortunately, he passed away.
Yeah,
His wife is head of United Way, Libby Averett, and
sure.
he just passed away not long ago. But he had this incredible art gallery that went on to be the Wilhelmine Holland Gallery now, that is downtown.
Nice.
And once a month, he would have a showing. And I didn't really know anybody. And I had moved, I was living on Santa Fe Street here in Corpus Christi,
Sure.
Texas. And somebody had told me about it. And I went to it. And that's really how I got to meet a lot of people here in town. And it was so nice. And I just fell in love with his taste on art was just identical to mine.
Yes.
And so over the years, I've bought some, most of it from local artists, but it's unbelievable,
Yeah.
unbelievable the amount of talent we have in the art world right here in South Texas.
Yeah, I have, I think, like 6 pieces in my house of a local artist. Not to drop his name, but Daniel, plug him a little bit. I think De Leon. I love his art. He's really good. I have about 6 pieces out. Looking at one right now. But yeah, definitely, I'm a big fan of it myself. Tell us. I mean, you kind of went into it a little bit about your schooling, work life in the entertainment business, how you went to school in Cali. But if you can go a little in depth about that and just tell us a little bit more about the background, work life.
Well, I started off when I was a young child. I was promoting just as far back as I can remember.
Yeah.
And I was raised in Portland, went to Gregory Portland High School. And back when I was in school there in the 70s, we didn't have anything. There was a Whataburger, there was a Dairy Queen, and I think a Pizza Hut, and that was it. And so unless you could catch a ride to Corpus,
Yes.
there was not a lot to do. So what I did is I started promoting bus trips out of town.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And at the time, Lukenbach, Texas was a big deal. There was a dance hall. And so back in those days, you could book a charter bus
Mhm.
and so at the price, and then I just sold it by the seat. And we would go and we'd leave usually at the midday and then go to a dance and then come back and get back here about 3 or 4 in the morning. And it was a turnaround trip, and it would give kids opportunity to get out of Portland.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. And after that, I started promoting dances and more dances and more dances, and got to work for a couple of pretty big name singers.
Yeah.
Once again, I won't drop names, but anyway, I got to tour with some singers and got to learn that industry. And then I decided to start doing my own thing and start promoting shows. And I've been very fortunate because I handle a lot of the big nonprofit organizations here. I've done some work in the Valley. I've done some work in San Antonio. I've got a lot of shows in San Antonio next year.
Nice.
and in Dallas. And so it worked out real good. I work with nonprofits. So if they want to put on a big fundraiser with a speaker or a band or even a celebrity make a personal appearance,
Sure.
that's what I do.
Awesome.
And so, it's worked out really well for me, and I really enjoy what I do.
Well, that's definitely a different career path, a lot more fun than the normal ones. I think that's a pretty interesting stuff. I mean, I would enjoy that myself.
Yeah, it's actually, it sounds funner than it really is.
It's a lot of work, right?
Yeah, but it's interesting because, a lot of time these celebrities will come in, and it's so hard to get in and out of Corpus. So sometimes they're here 2 or 3 days. And I remember because I had brought Bruce Jenner here years and years ago.
Yeah.
And yeah, can you believe that?
Yeah,
and
awesome.
So I brought him here twice, and once he was here for 3 days, and I've spent a lot of time with him. Such a smart individual and a businessman. I mean, he knows business like nobody else. I mean, I wouldn't have predicted how his life has turned out in a million years. But there's just people like that. You reflect on it and you think, oh, wow, that's, when you read about them now, and you think, wow, I got to, and that we really did get to hang out. And so anyway, and a lot of those people want to see what South Texas is like and Corpus is like. And so I end up taking them to different places here in town, and it's just a lot of fun.
Definitely.
Most of them are very nice, by the way.
That's what I was going to say. Everybody, celebrities, they say they're mean, and who knows, right? But you're able to get a firsthand advice, so you're able to see.
I've just I've brought dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of people.
Yeah.
And, there was one lady I brought who was married to a president.
Sure.
She had a big book out at the time, and she was a little bit rough, we did not connect, let's put it that way.
We'll talk about her off camera. No problem. well, tell us about your show. I mean, obviously, it's very popular. You have a lot of interesting guests. I mean, it's really insane to realize how many people you know and how many different personalities from left to right to in the middle. And you're just, you just let them tell their story. And definitely plug it. Chili Con Chili, we love it. But tell us, how did that idea come from? I mean, where did you think about getting the guests involved, and how did that all come together?
Well, about a while back, I was reading a book about a very successful businessman in Mexico.
Sure.
And he just so happens, I met him, and I've seen him where this particular city in Mexico that I visit a lot.
Yeah.
And I was reading about it, and he was saying his secret to success was that he did something totally different, not necessarily to make a living, but it was just something to just put his heart into. And it was something a little bit different than he normally did. Yeah. And he said that it's kind of twofold because it enables you to meet people that you normally wouldn't meet. Sure. I'm a little bit of an introvert, so I'm not the most outgoing person in the world. Yep. So by having this cooking show, basically what it is every Sunday at 7 p.m., yep, I have this cooking show, and I cook a dish, and then every Sunday, the doorbell rings, and for the viewers, it's a surprise because I don't say ahead, and it's usually somebody that they will know, sure, or somebody that they can connect with. I mean, we've had a slew of people on the show over the years. When I started the show, I started off with my friend Sam, and that was the way it was supposed to start. I had no plans on having guest tasters, but what would happen is I'd be cooking, and I'm about 15 minutes, the meal's almost over, and the doorbell would ring, and it was always Sam. And it was funny because we were best friends, and he would walk in there, and he didn't have a lot of emotions, and he didn't really, I don't know, but everybody fell in love with him. Unfortunately, 6 months after we started the show, he passed away. Oh. And I decided that from that day on, I was going to have a different taster every Sunday. Yep. And it's been interesting. And I've it's hard because it's on Sunday. And so you have to get people because everybody says, well, why don't you film it here? And why don't you tape it here? And why don't you film it here? But that's not the way the show's set up. It's on Facebook Live. Sure. And Facebook Live, for the people who don't know it, there's a lot of restrictions on doing stuff on Facebook Live. There's a reason I can show this cigar right now. I cannot show it on my show anymore.
Oh, wow.
I cannot. You cannot show tobacco. You cannot serve alcohol. I mean, it's just crazy. But that's the way it is. It's they're allowing me to be on there for free. Yep. So I kind of have to go with, way the show goes. But anyway, but it is if it's your drink. We have a lot of great tasters. And unfortunately, during the virus, we haven't been able, because I'm really paranoid of the virus, so I really haven't had anybody in the house.
Yep.
And so anyway, I think the last person I had was Eric Rodriguez, who's a really great guy. He's running for mayor here in Corpus.
Yeah, I saw that show.
Along with 10 other people. But anyway, then he was the last guest on the show. And then I got a phone call this week from somebody who's a famous rapper.
Definitely.
And he's very, very well known.
Yep.
And anyway, supposedly he's going to be on the show this Sunday, but we'll see. I don't want to say anything because then if he doesn't show, then, you know, how
that's how I feel when I'm promoting something, because they say yes, you just never know if their schedule's going to change. You're screwed.
Yeah. And what makes my show great is nobody knows who it is. A lot of people say you need to promote who's coming on. Yep. And I you know, because if somebody doesn't like that person, they're not going to watch the show. Fortunately, I have a lot of people that watch the show. Yep. And probably, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this, 40% of everybody that watches my show is from Mexico. Yeah. Which is incredible. And I love Mexico, and I cook a lot of Mexican dishes. And so it's really awesome. I mean, I'm so happy that people like the show. Yep. Me personally, I think it's a little, but you know, but as long as everybody else likes it, it's all that matters.
Well, yeah, I can level with you on a lot of those things, that definitely being the introvert, and this allows me to not have to, you know, the people I wouldn't normally meet, because, you know, if I would never go up to them, or, you know, because I'm just not that guy, but, you know, they're like, how do you do it on the show?
Yeah, in a political year, I mean, you can get anybody to come on your show. They're dying to be on any and everything. So you have to take advantage of that. Personally, I'm kind of glad that the virus is going on, because I think people are tired of a lot. You know, you have to mix it up a little bit. Oh, yeah. And so the whole politic thing, I like getting people that are just interesting. I had quadruplets. I had, of all things, I had a garage sale probably, over a year ago. And this young lady was there with this beautiful daughter. She's probably 13, 14 years old, and she's just gorgeous little girl. And she said, I love your show. Definitely. And I'm always shocked when people say that. And she goes, yeah. She goes, my brother wants a bumper sticker. So I gave her a bumper sticker, and I said, well, tell him to put it on his car. He goes, oh, no, he's 13 years old. I said, well, you're 13 years old. And he goes, yeah. He goes, we're quadruplets. And I thought, oh, my God, this is gold. Yeah. So anyway, I had them on my show. So that's what I'm trying to think. I like to mix it up with really interesting people.
Yeah, and just let them tell their stories. I mean, just letting people talk and tell their stories is so interesting. You know, when you're meeting people, you just didn't have any idea how they would actually be, thinking them one way, and, you know, it could go the whole other way. It's really cool. Well, before I get the guests on the show, I Twitter it, Snapchat it, kind of things like that. And everybody, you know, was posting on Twitter. They wanted me to ask you about politics. I said, I guess you're a big political guy, and, you know, that's interesting to me. And I guess to answer Monica's question, she wanted to know, I know you're a progressive. Any specific city races or city candidates that are most intriguing to you right now that maybe you can talk about, or okay with talking about?
Well, you know, I think the mayor's race is just up. I mean, there's nobody. If anybody says so-and-so is going to win, they have no idea. I've never seen anything so intense. I think everybody that's running is good. Yeah, you know, I think there's a couple of people that have a lot of baggage that might backfire on them. Yeah. But I think we're going to be in good hands. You know, I feel good. It's not like we have a bunch of schlups, you know, running. They're all very intelligent people. But, I mean, you have to pick your enemies and all that kind of stuff. And of course, I wouldn't personally say who I'm supporting, but I can honestly tell you that there's a lot of good people running. And I'm friends. You know, Paulette Guajardo was a close friend of mine. I love her to death. Yeah, Eric Rodriguez, he's just geniusly smart. Yep. So I'll just leave it at that. If either one of them wins, I'll be happy.
Yeah, I'm always inspired by politicians, you know, whether they have baggage, don't have baggage, whatever, because it takes so much guts just to do that and put yourself on that platform.
Yeah, and I would never do it.
You know,
if I did, I would run as Chili con Chili.
I would run.
I would, and don't count me out of the race, because I'm just trying to. It's, you know, I'm not going to say, I don't want to make some big announcement now. In the future, this is, and I think I can do it. As the show grows, if I could get everybody to watch the show to vote, I think I would at least get a runoff.
Yeah, that's all that matters. I mean, once you're in the runoff, anything could happen. So that's the positive.
Absolutely.
Well, tell us any thoughts you may have on the current presidential election. You know, I got to get these questions answered from the customers out here. I want to ask those questions. So, what do you think? And I mean, I kind of can tell where you're kind of going with it, but just small talk on it.
Well, everybody, I'm an ultra liberal, and I always have been. I call myself an LBJ guy. A lot of times, in history, we think, like JFK did a lot.
Yes.
They don't realize how much LBJ did. And
Sure.
LBJ was friends with Dr. Hector here in Corpus.
Yep.
And he did a lot for equal rights. I mean, LBJ did a lot for everything from the gay community to Hispanics to blacks, everybody imaginable. He reached out and he supported, and I don't think his legacy ever gave him that much credit. I think the Vietnam War overshadowed all the good things that he did.
Definitely.
But I'm a people person, and and I get a lot of slack from my Democratic friends because I like George W. Bush.
Sure.
And the reason I like George W. Bush, I just like the way he talks to people.
Yeah.
He just had this way about him that, he just kind of kept you happy-go-lucky. I don't know how to describe it. And I think we miss that right now. I think politicians need to take a long, hard look. And this whole idea about being tough and everything, I think it's fine and everything. But I think at the end of the day, I think it would get you further in life by being a little bit more nice and a little bit more soft-spoken. Once again, that's just my opinion.
No, I'd agree with the opinion. I had to learn that the hard way. It's easier to be nice and if someone's mean to you, just get it back with kindness, and eventually they'll just probably stop, because it's just, it's a tough world, but, kindness is going to fix that. And I think if we're able to just project that, it'll be a lot better. But I agree with you on the George Bush thing. I was a fan of his too. Even when he was talking through the projection, it felt like he was talking just to you. And, I think we missed that where they're, just having a real personal connection to just every voter and being for the people. It doesn't matter what they are, in any specific, socioeconomic, racial, whatever it is. Right.
Yes.
So,
yes.
That's what I think we are missing as well. I'd agree. But to go into, I think your friend, he wanted me, I always tell Terry who I'm having on the show, and sometimes he has questions for him. Sometimes he doesn't. I won't say who he does or doesn't, but this one, he really had some questions for you.
By the way, he's got to be one of the funniest guys I've ever known.
I know, and people don't realize
on top of being incredibly intelligently smart.
Yeah, I can't keep up with him.
Oh my God, this guy. Yeah, no. I mean, I like hearing his perspective on everything, because he really does have a positive twist on everything, and I like, he's just a good guy.
I like him just because he's, no BS. I'm gonna tell you just
Absolutely.
Whether it's good or bad, it's just what it's gonna be, and let's try to, like you said, put a positive on it, whether it's something we agree with or not. Move
Absolutely.
forward, right?
That's right.
But he wanted me to ask you, why don't you cook lamb on your show, or for him, or for anyone?
Right. Yeah. It's really expensive, and I'm really cheap, and so it ain't going to happen. Period. End of story. It has nothing to do with any religion or anything.
That's what I was hoping for.
I can't afford it. Because once you start cooking lamb, then you got to cook the rabbit, and then you got to cook the turtle. Yep. It's like, where does it stop?
I had that experience at the burger joint. I think it's like Fuddruckers, and I had elk, and it was like 6 times more than the normal burger, and it tasted just like the normal burger. I was like, what's the difference?
No. I mean, come on, give me a break. You can cook. Everything tastes like chicken. I mean, who would say?
I agree. And me, I'm so simple, man. As long as I'm fed, I'm good. I don't really care.
There you go. I'm with you.
But Shanley said you burned his food, and you need him on again to make up for it. When are you going to call him to put him back on the show? I know you said you have that celebrity rapper, but maybe the next week. Who knows, right? So
I don't know. I think it would be good because he could give a really good perspective on the election.
Yes.
I like he's very open-minded to everything. And so he kind of, when I talk, a lot of times I'll get upset about something. I'll think, God, Terry, and he'll just put it, I don't know, right? The way it's just unbelievable. So he has this calming thing about politics. And he's you're a young guy.
Yeah.
But one thing that
it's the makeup, Matt. It's the makeup. I'm older than I look. It's the makeup. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. No, I trust me. You're kidding. But you don't remember this, but years ago,
sure,
Corpus Christi, we used to have characters.
Yeah.
when I say characters, these were people that had this personality that was just, they walk into the room and it was just incredible. I mean, incredible. And it just seems like we have fewer and fewer of those, but Terry Shamsi is definitely one of those. He's a character, and I think that's what we need more of. You know, I'm a fictitious character. I'm not for real. Chili con Chili, there's two people here. You know, we got to be serious. Yep. So, but he's the real deal. So, yes, he's a great guy. No, I'm not going to make any land. Go ahead.
I like it because he won't let me complain. If I'm bitching about something, he'll put it in perspective, like something way worse, and then you're like, damn, I guess I'm an idiot, you know. Right. I should not be sad right now. But that's what I like. He wanted to know when you're going to have his wife on the show. She's running for office again. You know, he wants to know when it's going to be on there. And she said if you had any of those pictures that you posted on your Facebook and you look like that, she'd be on tomorrow. But either way, she still wants to be on the show.
I'll get her on the show. His wife is a doll. I mean, she is an absolute doll. And I think I've tried to reach out to her, but every time I do, Terry shows up instead of her. And so it's like I invite Judge Hassett and I get Terry Shamsi. So maybe I need to invite Terry and then get Judge Hassett. So there you go.
Well, either way, you get a judge, so it all works out. He wants to know who taught you how to cook so he knows where not to eat, you know, but I think the food's good. I love the food. I think it looks really good.
Yeah.
But, you know,
I used to cook more than I did before the show, but, you know, and I'll be honest with you. Another reason I did this show is there are people that I know that don't cook. I mean, they literally do not cook. They don't cook. And they have these big houses, these expensive kitchens, and they don't cook.
Yeah.
There's nothing to cooking. All you're doing is mixing stuff. If you can get a recipe and follow the recipe, a child can cook.
Yeah.
So this is my take on it. And I hope you didn't say that you don't cook, because I'm getting ready to say something very powerful. No. If you say you don't cook, you're lazy. That's the problem. It's not that you don't know how to cook. You're just lazy. And you know, the truth, I love home-cooked food. You know, if you go to restaurants a lot, it all tastes the same. Everybody's like, oh, well, you know, you go to this steakhouse, and you go to this steakhouse. Yeah, maybe once every 2 or 3 months. But, I mean, there's nothing better than home-cooked food.
Yeah.
I'm serious. And a good thing about this virus is I would hope that a lot of people are cooking. But no, it's not hard. And I teach myself. My mother cooked 3 meals a day. She was a housewife for all her life.
Sure.
And so I watched her cook. And then I watch these cooking shows, by the way. I got to talk about that. And then I'm going to go back to the art, if you don't mind. I know
of course.
But I watch these cooking shows, and they're absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, I have never seen such horrible shows in my life. They're boring, and they're just horrible. And that was another reason I started the show, because I have never been so bored, and they're not funny. Not that I'm funny, but trust me, they are not funny. Yeah. And I watch those shows, and I literally, 30 minutes of the show, I find myself, I'm waking up, and I have like slobber coming out the side of my mouth because I'm falling asleep. It's just horrible. It's horrible. So I thought, I can do this. And if you notice on my show, it is very fast, because I know how people are on the internet. Yep. You give them over 15 or 20 minutes, and they're gone.
Yep.
And so I am sweating up a storm, and I usually have to make dishes, and I cook them ahead of time so I could save time. But I do that a lot. But another thing I'm trying to prove, it doesn't take long to cook food either.
Sure.
You know, we usually do Thanksgiving where you start cooking the turkey the day before. It's like, are you kidding me? And so I try to make everything simple.
Yeah, and there's no better way to have a conversation than, you know, a home cooked meal. It's just the best way to talk.
It's the best. And I'm telling you, I love it, because I've had everybody on this show. I mean, everybody on the show. And I have a list of tons of people that want to be on the show, but because of time. But when you cook a meal, and I'm not a gourmet cook, but it seems like every time I cook a meal, they'll be eating and they'll be like, what? I've never eaten this in my life. And I'm like, really?
Come on, man.
And I'm a big critic of the food that people eat all the time. And it seems like everybody eats the same thing all the time. And so I'm a big critic of that. It's like, you know, kind of spread your wings out a little bit and get a little creative on the food. And that's kind of what I try to do.
I think you need to put out a cooking book on Facebook so people can learn those different dishes that are so good. You know, they see them, but they want to know how to make them. I mean, they watch you, but it's quick, you know, like you said earlier.
Yeah. What's really weird is that, is it just me or did it get dark in here all of a sudden?
I can still see you.
Look, there's some light. I get a lot of texts and private messages from people in Mexico.
Yeah.
Mind you, the ones that contact me only speak Spanish, so they send the message in Spanish.
Yeah.
And I do know a little bit of Spanish, but they're always asking me critical questions about recipes. Like, should I use this or should I use heavy whipping cream? I mean, these mind-boggling questions. So I really have to scramble to act like I know what I'm talking about and give them a correct answer. But amazingly enough, you know, that means they're watching the show if they're asking a question about the recipe.
Yeah. See, I love to cook. My wife just doesn't let me. I think she's obviously better. I'll let her do it. But my problem when I cook, I enjoy it to do it, but I'm so ADD. Like I'll go do something else and something will be burning, and next thing you know, all the alarms going off in my house, and it's crazy.
You can't do that. No, you gotta go in there for the long haul. You can't walk out of the kitchen while something cooking. It doesn't work that way.
You got to have a mission, so I'll leave it to her. She does a good job of it. But let's get to another one. He wants to know why you haven't ran for office. I know you spoke about it a little bit earlier, but he said they elect, you know, just anybody nowadays. You don't have to worry about qualifications. So, you know, you'd be the perfect candidate, you know, just playing with you a little bit. But he wants to know.
What, for running?
Yes, for the office. I know we talked about it a little bit earlier, but.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, I was right at the last. I was going to be a write-in for the mayor.
Sure.
But I have too many friends running for mayor, and I didn't want to
break the vote.
Their chances of getting in a runoff.
Yes.
You know, and then I would have to be the mayor, and who wants to be the mayor? Not me.
That's a lot of work and a job I don't want to do, you know?
No. And I think you get paid $600 a month. The first thing I would do if elected, I would demand a recount. That's for sure. Because I would make sure that I was not elected. Unlike the president we have, who probably didn't want to be the president, became the president, I would be the guy that would not want to be the mayor. And actually, I would give it to the person that has the next votes under me, just because that's the way I am. I would give them the honor and a bumper sticker.
I think the president was super surprised to win because I was watching Howard Stern and Hillary Clinton, the old one, and she said when she called him, he was like flabbergasted. Not only that she called because she was so mean to her, but just that he had won, he was still like freaking out about that.
Yeah.
So, he was definitely, you know, off guard on that one. But yes. But you know, Shabs was just poking fun at you. He wanted to let you know he's a big supporter and a fan of yours, just like we all are. And you know, it's a super honor to have you on the show. You know, where you're kind of a celebrity in yourself, and you know, it's really nice to talk to you and learn from you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
But thank you so much. Any final thoughts you want to leave anybody with? Any plugs you want to give out to?
But no, I was gonna say I'm gonna try to get more artists on the show. In the past, I had Ricardo Reese. You got to get him on your show.
Yes.
R-U-I-Z. Well, there's two of them. It's Ricardo Reese and Joe Pena.
Definitely, I'll look at them.
Both these guys are. I know this is probably not the right wording, but I'm going to say they're Chicano artists.
Sure.
And they're the reason that Cheech Martin from Cheech and Chong came to Corpus because he's a fan of their art.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really
so
awesome.
he takes their art on the road with him, and he kind of reps them, and so they're part of that. I had Ricardo on, and I haven't had Joe Pena on. But these guys are incredible. And I own neither one of their paintings. It's on my bucket list. I'm going to get some of them. Sure. I have Betty Mobley paintings. Yeah. Betty Mobley passed away years ago. Her husband was a district attorney, Bill Mobley. And also another one you need on your show is Sarah Morgan. She's the executive director of the Art Museum in South Texas.
Yes.
I love her. She is the one that if she ran for office, I mean, she is the best. I mean, and I love her art. I love the way she thinks. I love what she's doing with the art museum.
Yep.
And so I'm just throwing that out there that she would make an incredible guest. And another artist that I don't own any of his work, but I want to, is Arnold Gonzalez.
Yes.
Arnold Gonzalez, of course, his son's a lawyer here in town. Yeah. He's I think he's a professor at the university.
Sure.
But he's another with kind of a Mexican Hispanic culture artist. And Arnold Gonzalez Sr. is incredible. Yeah. He would make a great guest because he used to be state representative back in the 70s. So he has a lot to talk about. So I'm like you. I mean, I have a list of people that I want to be on my show. And there's a lot, and like I say, I like it. I want to make my show a little bit more artsy. Not with a bunch of artists, but like having a rap singer.
Sure.
And there's a couple of famous country singers that have committed. There's a couple of famous Mexican singers from Mexico that have committed. It's just a matter of me, trying to get them here on Sunday.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I have a wide spectrum of people I've had on the show. Donna Rotana from the Weinstein case to,
Awesome.
adult actresses to, it doesn't matter what you do. I think everybody has a story that needs to be told. I don't care what it is. I just want to hear it. So, I think, and then another to your point about the artist, I think it's really cool that you keep it so fresh because, that's one of those dying traits that are so important. And those people that continue to make that awesome are, really, really vital to, the aspect of our country. And I think it's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. We have so many people here in South Texas to talk to, whether it be a rancher. Another one that I had so many, I can't think, but a most fascinating young man by the name of El Dusty, who's a DJ here in town.
Yeah, downtown.
He bought up an entire block of downtown Corpus that he's fixing up with his studio and everything. Has he been on your show yet?
No, but I know him really well. I need to ask him to get on. He's a good guy.
Absolutely. The guy is fantastic. And the best thing about El Dusty, and you can tell him I said that, he is as nice as he is successful. I mean, it has to go hand in hand. Because he's very creative and very smart in everything he does, in his business and in his music. Yeah. And that's another one that just, once again, and I'm going to try to get him back on the show. He's got a lot of projects going on in Corpus Christi that I hope that he will help us with and talk to.
Yeah, he's super cool. I love that guy. I'll plug him a little bit. When I was in college and I needed to help on my video production, and I reached out to him, I was a nobody, and I was, still nobody, but it was cool. I was just a college kid asking for help on some video production because I knew he had that office that down there and produce and all that stuff down there, and he just, so willing to help, so quick, and I actually got an A in that class thanks to him. So plugged it.
That's awesome.
He's a great guy and super cool dude. But yeah. With you.
No, I agree. I went to him, talked to him about mine because my production is so horrible on my show. I thought he was talking a foreign language. And I think he looked at me like, there's no hope for you. And I think he sent me home. I think he thought, okay, this ain't going to happen. So, but no, he's a great guy.
Well, we know you're busy. You got a lot of things to get ready for. So we're just really thankful to have you on and thank you for the time you spent. And we hope we can have you on later on again. And thank you so much.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I would love to be on the show. And just to let everybody know that to watch Chili Con Chili, it's on Facebook Live. Definitely. All you have to do is go to Chili Con Chili on Facebook. And it's at 7 p.m. every Sunday.
Yeah, and shout out to you for doing it live. I know that's so much harder than having to edit it.
It is. I mean, and that's what the thing that El Dusty and everybody was telling me, that you need to tape it. And, you have to get these certain kind of cameras, and then you have to get a laptop, and then you have to do this, you have to do that and that. And honestly, I just couldn't wrap my head around it. And so I keep doing it this way, and I might end up doing it that way. I'm just going to have to find somebody that can literally hold my hand to help me do that, because if I did it like you're doing this, I could definitely get the better guest. That is absolutely for sure.
Yeah, I used to do it live, and I it's kind of a catch-22 because you get the authenticism doing it live, but then maybe you make a little bit of mistakes that you could make a little bit more if you're trying to prove a point or get a point across when you edit it. So it's you get both sides of it, but I think either way we do it, we'll be okay. At least we're doing it right.
The secret of my show, it's one big mistake. So I think that's what people appreciate. They don't appreciate the perfection. And I love it because the people that like my show kind of take up for me because they know it's kind of her. Yeah. But they will say, oh, I like it. It's so raw. Really? Raw? And that's a compliment, But I'll take it,
Hey, anything we can get, we'll take. I appreciate
it. Absolutely. So raw it is.
Hey, well, enjoy your evening. Enjoy your what are we? No, we're not even on the weekend. It's been such a long week. I thought it was already Friday. But enjoy your week.
No, it's beautiful. The weather is beautiful. It's a nice time. It's a nice time of year to be in South Texas.
Yes, sir. Well, enjoy your time. Thank you so much for being on.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, sir. We'll see you soon.
And by the way, before you leave, I want you to be a guest on my show.
Hey, I was hoping you'd ask because I didn't want to ask.
Definitely. I think we have a lot to talk about, and so we'll do it. Remember, I'm trying to get through this whole virus thing.
Yes, I don't blame you.
I mean, I got a lot of Sundays to fill up like you, and so I'll be more than glad to have you on my show.
Hey, man, I really appreciate that's a huge.
And I appreciate what you're doing with your show also. I think it's so cool when people like yourself do this kind of stuff. Not because I'm on the show. This might be the last of your. This might end your show. My appearance on it might bring it to an end. I do appreciate people that do what you do.
Yeah. Well, if you're the last guest on the show, then we had a successful show, so we're thankful for that. but we'll see you soon, okay?
I appreciate it.
Man, you got to give me one of those cigars. It looks great.
When you're a guest on the show, that's part of the deal. You get that and a bumper sticker. It's a low budget show. Trust me. These cigars cost $4. This costs 50 cents. So $4.50 and you're good to go.
Hey, I'm with you. I'll take it. I'm thankful. All right. See you soon.
Take care.
Yes, sir.
Adios.
Bye-bye.